This is the Pat Down. I'm Patrick Galactic, and today we're asking the easy questions with very mean faces. I'm here with Ever So Android. Guys, introduce yourselves.
I'm Hope Simpson.
I'm Drew.
I'm Ben.
I'm Drew Murray.
I'm Ben.
Ian Forster.
And why don't we go around again? What do you do in a band?
I sing.
I play guitar.
And I play drums.
I play bass.
Okay. Well, that's fascinating. Thank you very much. How did Ever So Android begin? And what brought the band together? Was it Jesus?
It's a very valid question. Ever So Android, first we started as a two-piece. It was Drew and I, and at first we just wrote sad acoustic songs that made old ladies cry.
Mm-hmm.
Middle-aged
Mutilated
ladies.
ladies?
Mutilated ladies.
Mutilated middle-aged ladies.
It's actually the next single off our new record. And then we started looping. We were a looping band. A lot of Reggie Watts and Dub FX that influenced us a lot. And then we just slowly, evolved from there. And within the past year, we added a full band because we made a record we couldn't play live. And it was, I think, an amazing decision.
Drew, you're from the East Coast. How much have you wanted to give a swirly to everybody from Seattle? What's been the biggest adjustment to the West Coast? Microphone to your mouth, please.
I would say that I think on the East Coast people have sort of a rougher exterior, but you can crack through it and you're friends with people much quicker in a way. We're in Seattle, you're just kind of people are kind of nice and fuzzy on the outside, but they don't ever really want to do anything or hang out or anything. I literally was here for years before I was friends with anyone from Seattle. I was in Seattle for 4 years, and I realized that all my friends were from LA or New York. They were all transplants. So I think that's the main difference, which is weird because I know on the East Coast, we could all get together and I'd be like, hey, people are gonna come down and play guitar and paint and shit like that, and they would do that. And here, if you're like, hey, do you want to come down and hang out, play guitar? People are like, yeah, I don't want to do that at all. That's not.
2015's been a big year for you guys. You recorded your debut LP, Disconnect. It was produced by Bill Rieflin, who's worked with some kind of smaller bands like REM, Ministry, King Crimson, a couple of those guys. What was the recording experience with Bill?
Bill is one of my best friends now, and he's the worst. He's the worst.
He's the worst best friend?
He's the worst best friend.
He's the worst everything.
Don't go in public with Bill Rieflin. That's all I have to say. But as far as making the record with him, we had a great time. We had a really fun time, and I thought he was easy to work with.
Yeah, we loved working with Bill. It was really weird. I don't think I've ever worked with anyone sort of at that level that just that accomplished so many things. You know what I mean? Generally you're working sort of with people that you're hopefully sharing a vision with and stuff like that. But
And I think what was so cool about that was that Bill's worked with huge people. He was like, oh yeah, well, I totally played drums with Wu-Tang Clan one time. It was some after party and he just played drums while they rapped. And I think the cool part about Bill is he's accomplished a lot, but you can be like, I'm not feeling that part. Let's try this,
very humble.
and he'd be like, oh yeah, okay, sure, and would totally go with it. So you could make suggestions and talk to him. It wasn't like, well, that's cute, let me do this,
Drew and Hope, you guys spent years, like we were talking about, performing as a duo, with the loops and the bleep loop. And this year you added drum and bass. How has the band dynamic kind of evolved as you've added people into the group?
I'm so used to just being with Drew, just the two of us going back and forth.
Me too.
Haven't we all?
Yeah.
No, so it's been really, I don't know, it's different. This is the first band that I've ever been in, so it's been a really interesting experience for me personally to add, other instruments and musicians along in the mix. And I think it's evolved, but at the end I feel like it pushed us in the right direction, and that
there's definitely an adjustment period.
Yeah, an adjustment period for sure. But I feel like creatively speaking, Drew and I writing a lot, and before we just had 3 channels on the looper, you know what I mean? And now we can do whatever we want. And at first that was really overwhelming. And it was like, how do we take Ever So Android and the context that we know and add this new context? And there's an adjustment period, but I think we're starting to like figure it out.
I think
figure
we're
out
really
what Ever So
hitting
Android
our
is.
stride with stuff now, right? I think both of these guys offer such unique perspectives too that like we were sort of lacking, and it's been really helpful. And I think it was the beginning part of it is sort of learning like what Ben brings to the table and what Ian brings to the table. I know how to work with Hope, and I've worked with Hope for so long that it's just very organic and everything, but it's like, you know, what's Ben teaching me that I don't know? What's Ian teaching me that I don't know? And I'm really starting to understand like what everyone's bringing to the table. Hope included, you know.
So Ian and Ben, throw it over to you. You both joined the band this year. What's it been like to step into a project that was kind of already been ongoing and kind of had an established creative direction? How has that been for you? What's your experience been?
Stressful at first, to be honest, because they already, you know, have a unique sound and something they're already going for. And so me coming in was kind of the admission that they wanted to kind of be more of a band kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, it's been very interesting trying to figure out exactly what that all means, like what kind of role I'll play as a drummer.
Mm-hmm.
But it's stressful in a good way because it's pushing me to think about the drums differently than I have before. And so, yeah, I love it. But
I've been watching these guys for like 2 years prior.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have a lot of opinions and ideas of what they were beforehand. And so coming on board is almost like joining your favorite sports team after watching them for so long in so many ways, except you're put in a position that you're not used to playing almost. Like, I mean, I wasn't really a bass player before, but it's a role I really enjoy facilitating and
facilitate.
And it's been fun. It's been fun getting perspective on songwriting that limiting me on what I'm allowed to do and what I can do, and you know, exploring simplicity.
What is the song, artist, or album that made you want to be in a band? Go around. We'll go around. Little circle.
I remember listening to Erykah Badu's live album, Baduism, from way back in the day. And I listened to that record a lot. But I remember one day I was like, I could do that. It wasn't like, I want to do that. It was like, I could do that. She could do it, I could do it.
I really don't know. I like sort of accidentally. Boo. I know, boo. Get
Classic
out.
Drew.
You
I
had these questions all day long.
I did, but I was like, when I read it, I was thinking, because I grew up playing trumpet like until I was like 13, 14, and I just didn't want to play. Like at the time, I was like, this is so dumb. Yeah, you definitely know that. I actually went to college. Anyway, that's a whole separate
Trumpet?
I dropped out, became a drug
What
addict.
a
but
loser.
All of that other stuff.
Sounds like it just blew.
Yeah, it's nice. No, but I started playing guitar because I just wanted to do something that wasn't in that world of like classical or jazz or anything.
But you started out listening to a lot of punk.
Yeah, but I never wanted to do that. Really. I don't know. I started playing guitar. My friend taught me to play guitar, and then I just
Drew, it was
instantly
Winger. It was Winger. Come on.
And Winger. I mean, I was getting to the Winger thing actually, but no. And I just started writing like right away, and I've compulsively been sort of writing ever since. I've never. Actually, this is something Ian, I think, and I talk about quite a bit. Like, I've never really seen a person been like, I really want to be that guy. You know what I mean? Like, I know some people kind of live their life like that. They're like, if I could just be famous, or I could just be that guy or that guy. Like, I'm really content with who I am and what I do, you know? But don't get me wrong, I experience envy and things like that, like the next person. But I don't know. There was never that. It's just sort of me blindly kind of just being like, I feel like I need to write songs. And I know you're like that a little bit too. You just fucking write and write and write, you know?
Right.
And it's not like, yeah, sometimes there's like, it's mixed in with some ambition, and sometimes it's mixed in with exercise and demons. But generally, I'm going to write either way. You know what I mean? That's a terrible answer to your question, but
You still didn't even answer it.
I
really
don't have an
pretty.
answer. I
What about an album that seriously influenced you, or a band?
don't know. Zeppelin, I was super into. I was really into Minor Threat at the same time I was into Zeppelin. I don't know, but I was never like, that's gonna make me play
Minor
music.
Zeppelin.
Yeah, totally. It's a straight edge version of Zeppelin. They're a little more mellow.
Those two
but-
things could not
Yeah,
exist
yeah.
at the same
Yeah.
time. Sober Zeppelin doesn't happen.
They sound a little different, but I don't know. I'm sorry I don't have a good answer for
That's
that.
okay. That was a very creative non-answer. I appreciate that.
But thank you.
Ben,
Thank
what
you.
about you?
Probably Travis Barker from Blink.
Okay.
He's just a showman. You know, he made me want to. Like, he looks cool when he plays, and so as a kid, I was just like, I want to be him. But Blink in general, just because Blink was the first band that like every member that I knew, I mean, like Led Zeppelin and stuff. I mean, like the Beatles and all of them like all had their own individual traits. But Blink for my generation was like each band member is like their own thing, you know.
Sure.
And so I was like, I want to be in a band like that. Hence pop punk, which is what I grew up on. But yeah, I'd say Travis and Blink made me want to be a rock star.
Ian?
King of Pop, Michael Jackson.
Oh.
That's the first record.
That's
Good
not what I thought you were gonna
answer.
say.
The first
Damn.
record, when Van Halen plays that solo on Beat It, Thriller. That
Eddie?
cover to cover.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
Eddie, not Van Halen.
Edward.
Eddie, yeah, that solo just blew my mind, and I was like, I gotta play guitar. Period. Like,
Interesting.
And
We're
the first
learning
band-
things today.
first
That
band-
makes
I
a
know.
lot of sense now.
I feel like we've all learned a lot about you
We've all
guys.
learned a lot.
the first band I ever really got into was Metallica, though, and as a bands go, I started listening and watching and caring about Metallica and how they function as a band and how bands work. Because Michael Jackson's just like he does his thing.
Was that like post Cowardly Lion era of James Hetfield, or was that?
You're gonna hate me when I say I saw the Cunning Stunts DVD, which is the tour of Load.
Yeah.
So they're playing all the Black Album and all of Load and some of Reload songs, and all their hair is shorter than mine. And I fell in love with it. I mean, Kirk Hammett looks like the devil. He's got hair that's like this long and curly, and he's got eyeliner on.
Yeah.
And there's just like smoke and red lights, and he's playing the intro to
That's so
From Whom the Bell
crazy.
Tolls.
Just knowing you, it's just like.
I've
I
told-
think it makes a lot of sense.
Well, you were the.
I've actually told you this 3 times prior to this.
No, I didn't think
Just
that was
kidding.
gonna be your answer, though. You know what I mean?
What did you
So
think
it's
my
like
answer was gonna be?
Probably Queens.
Queens?
You know what I mean?
I was like 16 or 15 when I started listening to Queens. I'd owned terrible albums.
So you'd
before
already
that.
No, I just
decided
mean
that
you're
you
one-
wanted to play music
he's-
by the time the Queens was
Ian's the
happening.
guy that introduces me to like the rare shit that I haven't heard. He's like, Botch, you got to check these guys. Like, you're the, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's just funny for me for it to be Metallica. Do you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
it,
It was almost the Backstreet Boys before that. You know what I mean? I mean, you have what you have.
Almost.
And that was
I don't know what we're
Backstreet's
talking about
back.
anymore.
All right.
He knows the song pretty well.
So, yeah, I really had to study those ones.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna wrap up. I'm Patrick Galactic. This has been the Pat Down. This is Ever So Android. You can check out their album Disconnect on all streaming services or on iTunes or other places where music happens. Thank you guys very much. Thanks for being my guests.
Thanks, Pat.
Thanks
Thanks,
you,
man.
Patrick.
You're welcome.
We'll be seeing you all real soon.